Are you sick of wearing retainers at night to stop you grinding teeth? Are you suffering from tension headaches as a result of that? Do you suffer from TMJ pain? And are you aware that the grinding of your teeth at night is an indication that your nervous system is significantly dysregulated? Over the next few minutes, we're going to help you to understand that link and how to reverse your way out of relaxing your nervous system in order to stop teeth grinding. So, Lyd, first thing, how do you get to release that whole teeth grinding, all that tension build up there?
So when we have teeth grinding or jaw clenching, it's usually because we have tension in this TMJ joint here and the masseter here. So we've got these two. If you open and close your mouth, you'll find that hinge joint there. It's usually in and around here that the problem starts. And with the facial muscles, they all spread out down here and spread out up into the head. So when we have a lot of tension, we're pressing down here, that's why we end up with those tension headaches here. But we can also end up with swelling under here, chronic sore throats, lymph problems, that kind of postnasal drip stuff. That's all because the lymph is being stopped here. So what we really want to do is start to release that masseter. A really simple way to do that is just if you take one hand over the top of your head and you grab your ear and you just very gently pull it up and back on a diagonal. And then you take your knuckle into that area if you open and close. And very slowly and very gently, you're going to drag down like this. I'm going to do it at least 10 times.
How does it feel when you do it? Does it feel relaxing? Does it feel tense? Like what should people feel when they go through that?
It very much depends. If you've got, I don't have chronic jaw tension, but if you have chronic jaw tension, it can feel really, really tender. You can feel like you're going over a big lump, like dunk, and coming down again. So you want to really work into there nice and slowly though. The mistake that people make is hard and they press hard and they go in. We want to stay quite superficial with that. And then once we release that, you're going to find the cheekbone. You're going to come up to where that hinge joint is, but there's the jawbone that comes here and the cheekbone that comes here. And we're coming into the pit of that cheek with our thumb. And then we're going to hook it in and open your mouth. And you're going to hang your cheekbone off that thumb like this. So it's almost like the skull is hanging off here. You can do both sides at once. So you look a bit like Skeletor. Do you remember Skeletor? And you hang and you press, and it's like a pressure point release. So it gets really tender and really sore, and you're just holding in there. You might often find that you get loads of saliva straight away into your mouth, which shows you that the salivary production is being inhibited by that lack of lymphatic drainage and circulation to the jaw. So I would start with those two things. I also have loads more videos on my channel, Face Yoga with Lydia, and you can see different massage sequences and face yoga sequences to start. But start with those two things and see how you get on.
And also, so one thing that I do around this, I practice a lot, is mouth taping at night. I'm practicing nostril breathing during the day because our jaw position gets really affected, doesn't it? It gets really thrown out by mouth breathing during the day. Can also add to that tension and also contribute to people who are teeth grinding at nighttime. So help to release that tension. If you overnight use, I've used a couple of different tapes. I use hostage tape. Which sounds horrific, but it really works and it stays stuck even if you got like a big old hairy upper and lower lip like I do. 3M Micropore is another one that you'll find commonly in pharmacies. You won't have to order it online. It's a little bit cheaper. A lot of people find it successful just to put a tiny little strip over here. Personally, I have a really strong urge to open my mouth apparently at night, so I really have to cover it with tape so there's not even a crack. And then I find I get actually a much better night's sleep as well, because you also, when you breathe through your nostrils, you stimulate nitric oxide production, which is actually how your body helps to flush and fill your body with oxygenated blood.
Was it scary when you first started doing it? I've never done it, and I've been thinking about starting to do it and do it with my kid recently, but the thing that inhibits me is if I can get kind of anxious easily, and my worry is that it'll make me very panicky.
Certainly don't start doing it when you have a cold or sinus congestion, because if there's any sense, and there are some nights where you kind of overthink it and you kind of lie down and go, I'm not getting enough breath. I need to open my mouth. And you don't need to open your mouth. Fundamentally, actually, when you relax, you feel this dilation happening in your sinus cavity or right behind your nostrils, which is exactly what you want to stimulate, which is then you're opening up these airways, which are not used enough, and then that starts to really relaxes your nervous system systemically and sends safety signals to the rest of your body, which will improve your deep sleep, which is what nostril breathing does, and mouth taping can help.
All of the clients that I've talked to who I've got to do this say that they wake up feeling refreshed for the first time in the morning, actually rested for the first time in the morning, that their eyes are more lubricated. There's so many benefits, and their recovery from exercises are much better.
Yeah, so I go through phases of mouth taping, and what I find is I started it, I think, originally because of snoring and my concerns with snoring and heart disease and all these sorts of other bits and bobs. and Alzheimer's, actually snoring and Alzheimer's. So many links between snoring and long-term chronic degenerative disease. And so when I start mouth taping, what will happen is the snoring will basically disappear. It'll go from, and I record it every night, of course, because I'm that guy, but it'll go from, half an hour, 40 minutes down to 2 or 3 minutes a night, like a couple little bouts. And then it'll disappear completely, and I'll keep mouth taping for a couple of weeks. And then at the end, when I stop mouth taping, I'll find that holds. So it kind of conditions your body, conditions your nervous system and your airways and your body's whole idea around how breath should work. And necessarily, if you're in a more deeply relaxed state, there is going to be less tension and less chance of, grinding your teeth.
Talking about the tension part of it, something that I always recommend to my clients is to take a magnesium supplement, because magnesium is a great smooth muscle relaxant. So it really helps. So if you've got chronic tension in any muscle in the body, magnesium is a really good idea, right? And it's also a vasodilator, so it brings lots of fresh circulation there. And when we're looking at repairing or healing tissue, or if we've got tight tissue, which means it'll be dense, there's always a lack of circulation and a lot of lymphatics. So if we want to heal that, we want to repair it, and we want to relax it, we need that beautiful blood flow. The magnesium does both of those things. What would be the magnesium, because I kind of defer to you on these things, that you would recommend to your clients for something specifically like TMJ?
So I think when you have chronic tension, you'll always have a reduction, because you have a reduction in blood flow. You're going to have a reduction in production of ATP in those cells. You have an inhibition of mitochondrial ATP production, which is energy production in the cell. And to fund that energy production, there's one particular magnesium, which is magnesium citrate, which is really useful for driving energy production. So you can use magnesium citrate. Often I'd say use magnesium citrate in the morning times or in the afternoon around more kind of exercise times, that sort of thing, where it will really fund that activity. Or let's say if your sleep is really inhibited, you have really bad sleep, magnesium bisglycinate, so the glycine, 2 molecules of glycine bonded to a molecule of magnesium, that really improves uptake and absorption of the magnesium, but also that glycine goes on to work as an inhibitory neurotransmitter, calming the racing mind at night, allowing you to get into a deeper state of rest, improving things like sensory gating mechanisms, which are the things that stop you worrying about the dogs barking next door and your annoying neighbors who are partying until the middle of the night. For example, not my problem, thank God. Thank you, neighbors, you're great. So and also, so magnesium is one of the kind of primary nutrients for this. There's also what I often, because teeth grinding, like we said, it's a representation of a nervous system that's dysregulated. Your body is obviously in a huge state of tension to be grinding teeth at night when you're supposed to be in deep rest. So any nutrients or herbs that are going to support and relax the nervous system, tranquilizing herbs like lemon balm, like passion flower, like chamomile, like Siberian ginseng, those are the sorts of herbs that are going to help to relax it. Also, nutrients or agents like L-theanine, which is an amino acid, it helps to promote GABA synthesis. GABA is the primary inhibitory neurotransmitter in our brain, so it helps to slow the synaptic firing at night and helps to calm our, again, racing mind. And also L-ornithine, which is another amino acid that helps to reduce cortisol production. Studies done with that show that it reduces cortisol production like 50% over 6 weeks. Some amazing studies with ornithine, often in combination. We have one great combination actually to mention, which is an Irish-made one by a company called McConta, which is called the L-theanine-ornithine combination, which also has chamomile, also has lemon balm. There's a lot of those agents together. That's a great one for study, focus, mental clarity, but also for relaxing a body that's showing signs of tension like teeth grinding. So what would be an exercise that you would say that might really help to relax that whole area where there's an indication that's real buildup of tension within the palate and within that the kind of the jaw?
Yeah, so like you said, usually when we're teeth grinding, it's when we're in a case of stress. So it's really common in postnatal mums who have babies that are waking all night long and they've got that kind of postnatal anxiety to start really grinding their teeth down. It's one of the most common times that people stop teeth grinding, or during divorce or breakups. So it is a real indicator of a stress level, right? So what we really want to do for stress levels is look at vagal nerve tone. So that's this nervous system pathway that affects so much stuff in the body. And we really want it to be calm. We want everything to be calm in the body. So we can do a couple of vagal nerve exercises that just help calm us down. And these are things that aren't like you do it and it's an instant fix. They have a kind of cumulative effect. So I usually say to people, choose a couple of things and do them a couple of times during the day. So multiple times, little and often. So what we can do is, see your ear there, you've got the edge of the ear, and then just underneath there's this flat bit here. If you just very gently massage that flat bit from front to back, and you can do both sides at the same time, but we'll just do this one to show it's really good. So you're just going through the shell of the ear on the flat bit, and it's slow and gentle. People tend to want to do this exercise and we do it very fast, but it's very gentle. Anything to do with vagal nerve tone is calming, right? So it's slow. And then you can do it in a backwards movement like that. So little circles going backwards. And you want to do it on both sides for up to a minute, I would say. And then coming down from there, we're going to do a gentle stroking down the neck. So the vagal nerve travels down through here, but we want to make a light smile with the mouth so you release tension on the jaw. One of the ways that we can release tension on the jaw is just by literally smiling. So we just make a little smile and we stroke down gently 5 times. And then interestingly, the third one is thumb sucking. So thumb sucking is a fascinating thing. When babies come out of the womb, they have this urge to suck, and that's a feeding instinct, obviously, because they might be breastfeeding. But they also, as everyone knows, use dummies, or they suck on fingers, or they want to feed even when they're not hungry. They just want to suck on the nipples. And that's because the action of the sucking rocks the sphenoid bone in here and the roof of the mouth palate. It literally rocks them backwards and forwards. And that flosses that central nerve pathway, which calms everything down. So it's a natural self-soothing. We know that. We say babies self-soothe. But we can do the same thing ourselves. And it's really important because if we teeth grind, often we've offset the jaw isn't in the right position. If we're mouth breathing at night as well, and these passageways are too thin, it affects how our mouth bites as well. And a lot of the cavities back here as well, everything goes off. We can often get compression in the back of the cervical vertebrae. So it's really important to make sure that mouth dome is working really well. So you just simply suck your thumb, and you don't have to do it for very long. You can do kind of 30 seconds multiple times during the day, and that makes a really big difference to how your jaw feels, but how your nervous system feels as well.
Okay, so if you want to learn more about this topic, you want to look at relaxing that jaw, you want to look at improving tone there, but also reducing tension. How can people find out more from you, Lyd? Because you're an expert in this, right?
So one thing that I would say that we haven't mentioned is the link between jaw and pelvic floor. And I have an upcoming workshop on that on February 2nd. So if this is something you're really fascinated about and you want to learn more, think about coming to join my workshop where we're going to go through all the techniques to release your jaw and release the pelvic floor. About 75% of people who have chronic jaw tension also have chronic pelvic floor tension, even if they're not symptomatic. And the problem is that it can be coming from your jaw or it can be coming from the pelvic floor. So sometimes my clients, they've tried everything up at the jaw, and then it turns out that actually the tension is coming from down below. And when we release it down below, then the jaw tension releases. So that's one option. But also I work one-to-one with clients doing internal mouth buccal massage, which helps to release all of those muscles and tissues around the TMJ and has amazing effects. And then I can do clinic visits where I can teach you to do those massages yourself. And I also do a therapy called bone therapy where I work on the TMJ to help reset the jaw and restructure the alignment of that and help with the nasal breathing. So it's an area that I work in a lot. If this is something that's really affecting you and you've tried the different things that we've said and it's not working, you can contact me on www.faceyogawithlydia.com.
Wow. Okay. So if you want to get more amazing information about how to stop teeth grinding, stop bad breath, help with heart disease and gum disease and all these sorts of amazing things, you come and like and subscribe our channel. Please comment on this as well. Tell us what else you would like to hear from us. And in the meantime, and happy, gentle jaw relaxation and a good sleep to you all.